Ay, all work, no pleasure. I ain't here to make friends, big stepper. Ay, bad guy, Heath Ledger. Ready for wherever, I'll be front and center. Don't fly too close to the sun, your body chopped up by propellers.
What in the world is going on today? You could be forgiven for thinking the inmates have taken over the asylum. For this, it seems, is exactly what's happening. As inexplicable as today's events may be, an obscure book written by a Polish scientist during the Cold War reveals what's really going on.
This a marathon, not a sprint, let's go 100 miles. From the ground, we'll be to the clouds, never coming down. That's a crown on me, wearing proud. What they was talking about.
We know them by many names: psychopaths, sociopaths, malignant narcissists, sadists, Machiavellians, pathological liars, human predators. At least once in your life, you're bound to encounter one. And too often we are caught unawares of these malicious chameleons. Psychopaths are so skilled at manipulating that you are unlikely to realize you're being controlled, and those around you may even be convinced that you're the problem. The psychopath will engineer situations to make you appear suspicious. They will provoke you into having outbursts, making you look crazy or unstable. They might even convince you that you are the crazy one. After all, no one believes you, and you're not even sure what's happening or why. Meanwhile, the psychopath in this scenario gets precisely what he wants. Perhaps it's a job advancement, your life savings, or simply seeing you fall apart. Perhaps it's all three. Dr. Andrew Lobachevsky, a Polish psychiatrist, wrote the groundbreaking book Political Ponerology, exposing the psychopathic personality that is so common in the political, institutional, and media spheres. In his book, he breaks down some of the techniques used by psychopaths such as reversive blockades, big lies, projection, ascribing one's own negative qualities, actions, or intentions to others, paralogisms, logical-sounding but wrong statements, paramoralisms, inversions of common morality meant to appeal to our innate moral sensibilities, eliciting maladaptive responses, and using pathological egotism to terrorize and coerce. These all share something in common. They are designed to deceive and to influence others to do something they otherwise wouldn't do. Psychopaths can be motivated by a handful of values, which have been summarized in the extensive research by Dr. Karen Mitchell: wealth, attention, status, to be seen as reliable, to achieve a legacy. Whether or not any given psychopath has one or more of these values, they will serve two key psychopathic traits: the drive for control, power, dominance, and a sense of superiority, specialness, or entitlement. They feel they deserve what you will give them, and they will shamelessly manipulate you to get it. In this regard, Dr. Mitchell lists 25 tactics employed by the psychopath, most of which can be considered examples of the more general techniques Lobachevsky describes. Some of these tactics are pathological egotism, using force, coercion, and bullying to intimidate with an intent to create fear. This can also involve blackmail and bribes. Paralogisms, dismissing, denying, and minimizing to justify their actions or make excuses. They can use convoluted discussions, blocking, evading, and deflecting anything that may expose their real intentions and motivations. Paramoralisms. This is the attack on the process, qualifications, experience, and integrity of professionals who challenge them, by attempts at diminishing, degrading, disempowering, and discrediting those individuals. Projection. The psychopath accuses a victim of their own nefarious deeds, otherwise known as reverse attribution, attributing their own evil to the hapless victim. Some of the above are also reversive blockades, such as when a psychopath will deny doing something, blame another for something he has done, or lie about a perceived enemy. Regardless of the social scale, the same tactics are used. At the workplace, in the home, in the media, in big corporations, local councils or school boards, and so on. Most of these manipulation tactics are designed to elicit maladaptive responses. The human dynamic at play here is this: We all have natural tendencies that, in ordinary circumstances, are useful. We give people the benefit of the doubt. It's hard to believe that everyone is lying all the time, and life would be impossibly complex if that were the case. We also respond to certain threats with fear or violence, also essential to our personal and collective survival. However, each of these natural reactions can be elicited by deception. We can be made to trust untrustworthy people, or to fear or attack trustworthy ones. Psychopaths are experts in human behavior and are masters at such manipulation. Without any internal constraint, they can freely and deliberately create confusion and chaos, create a contrived sense of deep connection, elicit sympathy by pretending to be the victim, weaponize the justice system.
What's happening here is weaponization at a level that nobody's seen before, ever.
Ingratiate themselves to people in power, create and capitalize on divisiveness, manufacture public and private provocation, elicit a sense of obligation by doing things to secure leverage, all with the skill of a virtuoso. These are all exploitations of normal human responses that are otherwise harmless or helpful. You could say that psychopaths turn human nature against itself. Psychopaths may be rapists, serial killers, pedophiles, abusive partners, and the like, but not all of them are lawbreakers. The intelligent ones with a good degree of self-control may be politicians, lawyers, doctors, priests, or professors. They cunningly cultivate a likable persona for the world while making the lives of their targets miserable. What they all have in common are certain personality traits and a set of manipulative, predatory tactics that they use to get what they want. The study of such individuals and the situations they create is called ponerology, the study of evil. When such individuals enter the political realm, which they often do, we are then talking about political ponerology, and this was the pioneering work of the Polish psychiatrist Andrew Lobachevsky. Just as people are confused and caught off guard when they encounter a psychopath in their everyday lives, entire populations are similarly manipulated when a gang of psychopaths take over their nation. Different disciplines will try to explain this phenomenon in terms of ideologies, economics, or religion and morality. But the root cause is the same: psychopathy. Back in the early 1950s, Lobachevsky met a group of older scientists engaged in a secret research project to understand the nature of communism as they were experiencing it. A retired professor acted as a go-between for the group, passing on their anonymous research summaries to other members. But when all these contacts dried up, some probably quit under pressure, others may have been liquidated by the security services, Lobachevsky decided to take on the job. After a series of close calls with the authorities and several arrests, Lobachevsky emigrated to New York, where he finished writing his book. Alarmingly, Eastern Europeans living in the West today will say that the political atmosphere of their Soviet past is now happening in the West. Our nations are becoming pathocracies. The true nature of totalitarianism isn't the ideology that cloaks it. Such political policies are analogous to a psychopath's persona of normality. The thing that made communism so evil wasn't simply that its policies didn't work. It was the type of people who made it to the top, a process that may take decades or generations. It was the psychopaths who made communism the most violent and anti-human system of the 20th century. Psychopaths inherently believe they are superior and smarter than everyone else, whom they regard as suckers. This manifests as extreme grandiosity and an absolute refusal to accept personal responsibility. However, as they gain authority, they come to realize that they depend on others to accomplish things for them. Who's going to keep the electricity running and the income flowing? Who's going to give us medical care when we need it? In politics, this means that even in a full-fledged pathocracy, leadership will attempt to structure the economy so that the masses achieve some minimum level of prosperity. In the workplace, however, unless a corporate psychopath is identified and removed, the organization will fail. The incompetent will ascend, while the competent will either be fired, quit, or live completely demoralized lives, putting in the least amount of effort, thus diminishing the company's efficiency and profits. A single psychopath has the capacity to undermine an entire organization's morale. Imagine what a group of them can do to a country. How do psychopaths transform a society? Psychopaths typically prefer to target weak victims. If they're naive and ignorant about the nature of psychopathy, then even better for the psychopath. In the same way, groups of organized psychopaths latch onto nations in a crisis, be it spiritual, economic, political, or geopolitical. During times like this, people become more emotionally unstable, suggestible, distrustful, and combative. If a psychopathic political group can exploit this condition to come to power legally or through a revolution, dark times are ahead. The system will transform from whatever it used to be into a totalitarian pathocracy. Polarization refers to the process by which a group becomes increasingly saturated, with individuals suffering from various personality disorders. To finish watching the other half of this video, please go to our Substack, Notes from the Past, by clicking on the link in the video description. Here you will find transcripts, discussion, and content not available on YouTube, as well as the opportunity to support us.